Welcome to another episode of Out of the Pods. I'm Deepti.
And I'm Natalie. Okay, so we got so many of your thoughts about our last episode, which was recapping the Ultimatum Queer Love episodes 1 through 5. Deepti and I just finished the season, and let me tell you, your comments make so much sense. For those of you who have watched it all, you're like,
Yes.
no, keep watching.
Keep
Things will
watching.
change. Oh,
So
man,
good.
it is such a good show. Guys, I'm telling you, if you haven't watched it on Netflix, this isn't a plug for Netflix, but if you haven't watched it, please do. It's just like I think it's just like a really good dating/marriage reality TV show. And I would say it's one of the best reality TV shows that I've seen on Netflix.
Dude, it is just so good. Just the character arcs, the complexities of the relationships, and just how being put in a situation like this can really open your eyes. And I don't know if you guys out here know the Kygo song, but sometimes you got to lose somebody to know what you really have. And this is the prime example of that. And it's just, oh, it's so good. So good.
Yeah, so we're so excited to be sharing our thoughts and recapping episodes 6 through 10 of the Ultimatum, Queer Love, and just sharing what we thought because there was a lot that happened. But before we do that, can I just ask you about something? I just want
Yes.
to this. This just happened recently where my friend, let's call her Jan, broke up
Jen.
with her boyfriend Fred. I'm just making up names, but
Okay.
okay.
Jen
So
and Fred.
Jan was really confused about the breakup. It kind of came out of nowhere. But just recently, like a month after they broke up, she saw Fred and his female friend making out at a bar. She was really, really confused because she thought that Fred and his female friend, his female best friend, were just platonic friends. And then now looking back, Jan was like, during our relationship, like this female friend would call Fred and text him late at night. They were best of friends. They would always hang out, go to dinners together. But Fred always said it was just platonic. And she goes, now I'm like, oh my gosh, were there feelings there? Did he break up with me for his female friend? Anyway, so it got me thinking, would I consider it a red flag if my boyfriend had a very close female friend that he spent a lot of time with? What do you think?
Okay. Did they date in the past?
So a few years ago, they had hooked up. I guess that's the part of the story
Okay.
that I
And
was missing. That changes everything.
yeah, and how long ago was this hookup?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay, that's right. That's right. Okay, 3 years ago. That's not that long. That's not that long. Because listen, I have a lot of guy friends that I'm very close to. And like I honestly kind of do think it's a red flag because if they've hooked up before and she's texting him a lot, that means that there's emotional connection there too. And there once was a physical. That means there is a possibility of it getting physical. So it is a red flag, honestly, because you have to set some boundaries, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Look, so I had a really close guy friend who I dated in my early 20s. When he got a girlfriend last year, so now we're in our 30s,
Yeah.
I took a huge step back. Him
Yeah.
and I used to go to dinners a lot. He used to come over and we used to hang out. But once he got a girlfriend, I was like, I cannot be texting him and hanging out like we used to. I actually completely stopped and I was like, if he texts me to hang out, then sure. But I need to respect his girlfriend.
Right.
Like, and I was like, I feel like it was also a red flag that Fred's female friend did not respect that sort of boundaries. I feel like it's kind of girl code to do that. I don't
Yeah.
know. I was just like, it seems like a whole red flaggy situation for me. But I was telling another friend about it, and she goes, you know what? Men and women are friends.
That's
It is
exactly
what it
what I
is.
That's exactly what I was going to say is, I am, like I said, I'm really close with a couple of my guy friends. And we hang out all the time and we're just cuddly, you know what I mean? It's not a big deal. We're never going to cross that line. But if he has a girlfriend, like I do set a boundary where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be like all over you, like even in a friendly way. Because I think, yeah, you're right. You just can't cross that boundary. And I think it comes from girl code to just be like, all right, I'm going to take a little step back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also my guy friend like just texts me less. Like he doesn't ask me to hang out one on one like anymore. And I think again that's you know because he respects his girlfriend now. So
Yeah.
anyways, I don't know. Here's my thing. I feel like if I had a boyfriend and he was friends with a woman where he saw her kitty cat, her puss puss, I'm like, no, 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 you're ending that friendship.
Please.
You're
Uh,
ending that friendship. You are never hanging out with her again.
okay,
Well, maybe you could hang out with her in a group, but like one on one, hell no. And she's not texting you at like,
but
like late night or anything,
after
even if
10
it's
p.m., no
friendly.
texts, no
Yeah, no
texts after
text.
10 p.m. from girls. I don't think that it should apply to every girlfriend, though. I do think that men and women can be platonically friends, but I think there's a line that needs to be drawn. And, if it's like affecting you, then obviously you have to say something. But I don't think it's just like oh, you can't be friends. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that even texting one on one, I think that's fine. It's just like maybe not late at night. I don't
Anyways, it got
know.
me thinking because I was all like, I know what logically, like
Yeah.
the logical answer is of like, well, like it depends on the situation. Like, you can't stop people being friends with each other. But I was like, if I was in your situation, I'd be like, that's a red flag. It's either me or her.
You know what? In the era of Vanderpump Rules and the scandal, trust no one. Trust no one.
Exactly.
Oh, so
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
I'm
All
dead.
right.
That's
So
funny.
let's get into the ultimatum queer love. We want to talk about something before we went into it because we did get some comments about pronouns from from our last episode. There's some comments like, why are you using they for like certain cast members versus like she or her? So we just want to clarify that. So the cast does prefer different pronouns. Tiff uses pronouns they, them. Aussie uses Aussie as a pronoun. Mal and Xander uses she, they. And then the rest of the cast uses pronouns she, her. So we just want to put that out there. Because you guys had some questions and comments about that.
Yeah.
All right. There is so much to talk about. I don't know who to start with,
Literally.
but I
Who do
kind
we?
of want to talk about Xander and Vanessa.
Yes, let's do it. Oh my God. There's so much happening. First of all, I do have to say, I absolutely love that they have created such a bond. I feel like of all the couples, they are the ones who really, I'm like confused about what was going to happen because there's just so much love there. But dude, it was so hard to watch them in these last 5 episodes or the last 4 episodes, because what are they doing? What are they doing? Like they're just being like really untrustworthy to their partners and the people that they came into this experience with. Did you get that vibe too?
Yeah, look, I really liked Xander in the beginning. I really did. And these episodes really changed that for me. Um,
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like Xander was being disrespectful to Vanessa by messaging Yoli behind her back, and also lying to her about it. When Xander promised Vanessa to be committed to her on their hot balloon date. So I'm like, why aren't you being forthcoming, Xander? Like, I feel like Xander is emotionally cheating on Vanessa, and I wouldn't have thought that if Xander didn't tell Vanessa, like, I promise it's just going to be you during this period. Like, I won't look at other women. I was like,
Yeah,
you sorry, but the way you touched Yoli at that group hangout, the couples meetup that happened in like episode 7 or 8, I was like, what? You are clearly looking at another woman.
yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna lie to you. I still think Xander is my favorite on the show because I feel like she's one of the few that have really leaned into the experience, and she was the ultimatum giver, right? And she just kind of opened up her like heart to just like leaning into this experience. And dude, yes, she told Vanessa that she's not going to be speaking to Yoli. And after that conversation, the group hang happened. But that's not like Xander's fault that they were forced to be together. I think it's completely not okay the way they acted. But when you have so much chemistry, I understand how it was hard for her to separate. I don't know. They were kind of forced to speak to each other. I'm not saying it's justified in any way. I'm just saying I understand it.
I don't. I think that Xander emotionally cheated. She
I,
should have never promised Vanessa that she wouldn't look at other women. And like that was sorry, that was emotionally cheating. If you can't commit to that, do not commit to that. Don't promise that to Vanessa. Like
yeah,
that was my big deal. And I was like, it doesn't matter. Like if it doesn't matter if they're in the same room or they're forced to talk, like control yourself. They are all adults. They are all
yeah.
adults. So I have no empathy. Look, and I know I'm going like really hard, but I really do have like this thing about cheating. I think
Yeah.
it's like really shitty when people do it and they're not, and
Mhm.
they lie about it. Like
Yeah.
it's just gross. I
Mm,
mean, you kind of see it with the messages that Vanessa brings up to Mal between Yoli and Xander. And I felt like Yoli and Xander were both like lying about it in front of Mal as well.
yeah.
Like,
The-
so I don't know if you remember this, but
mhm.
Vanessa messages Mal, letting her know that Yoli and Xander are, flirtatiously like messaging each other. Kind of brings me
Mm.
back to after the altar for me. Uh,
No wonder you're
um,
triggered, baby.
I know. Um, but I guess Yoli sent Xander a message like, send me a selfie, which is
Yeah.
pretty like flirty and so Mal at first is like, I don't know why Vanessa messaged me that. Like, I don't know why she's trying to stir the pot. But then when she
Yeah.
hears the selfie message, Mal's like, Yoli didn't tell me that. And then Yoli's
Exactly.
like, she's like, I didn't think that happened. Like,
I know. It's
it was just weird. And then Xander is also like, I didn't think that happened either. I
Yeah.
was like, what are you
No, I
guys
think
doing?
they both justified their messages. And yeah, it was interesting that Mal got upset with Vanessa initially for bringing that up. But I'm sure like after she did, Mal was probably like, "Thank you for bringing that up," because clearly it's evident that Mal or that Yoli is not telling me the full story of what's happening. She's like kind of omitting certain facts. And yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I'm more mad at Yoli than I am Xander because weirdly, I feel like Xander has been, I don't know. I don't know why Xander can't do any wrong in my eyes because I just want her to find love. And Vanessa, I don't think can give it to her because she's just not ready for a marriage. And it was so evident. And I love Vanessa's dad for saying this because remember when they were having dinner and Vanessa's dad is like, I don't know if your idea of marriage has changed. I think you're just really scared to lose Xander. And it's kind of like you want to win. And and I honestly thought that he nailed it on the head on that one. Don't you think? Like, because it's true. I don't think that Vanessa's relationship with Ray helped her progress so much that she now wants marriage and a commitment. I think that's a really hard, like, 360 or 180 from the beginning of the season. I think it takes time to come to that realization, and I don't think that Vanessa is there yet. I think she just does not want to lose Xander. And that's why I'm kind of rooting for Yoli and Xander.
Like, I agree where I feel like Vanessa didn't think that, and she said it herself, like, she didn't think that Xander would find a partner in this or someone,
Mhm.
or fall in love with someone else in this. And so I think she's like, okay, I need to like get my partner back. But
Yeah.
I think like if you separate those issues, Vanessa
Mhm.
may be promising things or, it's more to get her partner that back instead of providing what her partner needs, which is like marriage. But it's the fact, what bothers me a lot about Xander and Yoli is the fact that they're lying and not being forthcoming. So I
Mhm.
see them as like two separate issues of that says a lot about both their characters, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it does make sense, but I do here's where I'm struggling is yes, they lied about the messages, but Yoli has been extremely transparent with Mal about the fact that she's in love with Xander. And
I
dude,
agree.
I have to say Mal is such an angel. Like she's always been a calming presence throughout this entire experience. But like even after knowing that Yoli has fallen in love with Xander, she's still so patient. And she's like, all right, I'm gonna allow you the space to figure it out. And I'm like, protect Mal at all costs. I freaking love her. I
So
absolutely
this is
love
where I
her.
disagree with you. I don't think Yoli is that honest. So she might be honest that she's in love with Xander,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like Yoli also is like leading Mal on. Like she tells Mal to not give up and that's so manipulative. And again,
Yeah.
she's lying behind Mal's back and Mal says it herself like at the
Yeah.
reunion, which we'll get into later, but
Mm-hmm.
um so I just that's what really changes for me. I can't stand liars and I can't stand people who aren't forthcoming with how
Yeah.
they feel. And
I
to be
agree.
honest, Yoli and Xander, well, more on Xander's side, Xander is emotionally cheating. And so is Yoli too, because she's not being honest of like
Yeah.
building this connection behind Mal's back, like them messaging kind of like flirty things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I see that perspective as well. And I actually, Yoli, I thought was going to be one of my favorites this season, but she has become my least favorite of all. Just because you're right, she's being deceitful in the way that she communicates. Yes, she's like saying all the right things. I'm in love with Xander. I'm figuring it out. But then she keeps the hope alive for on Mal's side too. But I don't know. Maybe it is an internal conflict. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a hard situation to be in. But also, can we go back really quickly to Xander and Vanessa's hot air balloon date? First of all, I thought it was really sweet that Vanessa did that. And I loved her speech. And the first time I watched it, I actually cried and I was like, oh my God, this is so emotional. But the second time I watched it, just to get ready for this recap, I swear to you, I was like, this is kind of like staged. Like it feels kind of staged because that's where she asks Xander to like commit to her and not text anyone else during this experience. And I just thought it was kind of not manipulative, but like it was kind of just like just remember that like I'm here kind of thing, which is fine. But I just thought that speech was a little scripted.
I mean, it might have been manipulative. I mean, like, you know, like who knows? She might be just saying the right things because she wants Xander now.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm going to put our reality TV hats on because, like, on the other side of it, having
Yeah.
been in their shoes at one
Hmm.
point, or having, you know, been filmed for a reality TV
Yeah.
show, like we've done that. We've had like speeches kind of prepped. We've like put things of like we know what we're going to say because we want to say them concisely. So I was like, I don't put that on her. I don't know how true her words are, but like of course it was staged because it's reality TV. You know what
No,
I'm saying?
I totally get that too, but it's one thing to just like think about what you want to say and say it from the heart. It's another thing to write down exact words and read it off of a piece of paper. That's where I'm like,
Yeah,
it
that's
can
true.
have come from the heart for you. Like it's okay to like think about what you want to say. Like
So I don't want to shit on her because for my vows at my wedding, I wrote it down.
okay, your vows are a
Uh
little different. Everyone writes their
no, no,
vows
no. I meant
down.
like not my vows of like getting married, of like what I want to say to him of why we couldn't. Like it's
Yeah,
like I think she writes it because you see that also in the earlier episodes when she's
she
like giving
writes a lot.
apology to a group, she like writes it down to say it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to like defend her so hard because
No,
I
no, no,
I do
no.
think that like she like maybe her words aren't as genuine. Like I do think a big reason why she's like all in on Xander now is because she's like she didn't think like Xander would, you
Find
know,
someone
like
else.
find someone else. But I was like, I don't want to like say that she's like staged or disingenuous because she's reading off a piece of paper because we have
Yeah.
been on the other side of it before where I have had to write things I want to say concisely to my partner
Oh,
and read it.
100%. I've written it down too. I literally do the same thing. I journal all the time, but I think just like reading it changes it a little bit for me because it makes me question the integrity of it. I'm not saying she's not in, like, she is not being like honest about her feelings. I totally understand how some people don't thrive in situations like that where they want to say exactly how they imagined it. And when they do it
Yeah.
with the pressures of cameras and everyone else, they like kind of mess it up. I totally get it, but I just question the intention now because I'm like, you couldn't have just said that from the heart. But anyway, I just thought that was an interesting thing that
Yeah.
happened.
I know we're still on the topic of Vanessa, but did you find it weird that Lexi is still really mad at Vanessa?
Yes.
Like to Ray said it best, Lexi is consumed by Vanessa. And
Yeah.
I kind of understood it in the earlier episodes. I mean, not really, but I was like, okay, I see it. Like it's from like jealousy and like not getting, getting a bad impression from Vanessa. But now
Hmm.
it's like, get over it. Like, get
Yeah.
over it. You're bringing Vanessa into your relationship. It's not the other way.
I agree. I agree. You know what? Honestly, Lexi has surprised me the most because she was one of my favorites at the very beginning. I just loved how confident she was, and she was really going after what she wanted. But she's kind of doing it at the expense of Ray. Like Ray is already struggling with the fact that she was, intimate with Vanessa, and Lexi keeps shoving it down her throat, being like, you fucked up. And Ray already knows that and she feels bad about it. And in fact, it made me really sad when Ray was like, I just don't think I'm good enough for you. And I feel like I understand why she feels like that because Lexi just has all of these like standards of how someone should be acting. And if anyone like wavers from that, like Lexi just like comes down on them so hard. And I think that's the toughest part to watch. And honestly, it's a little hypocritical of Lexi to be mad at Ray for hugging Vanessa or looking her in the eye at that group hang. But Lexi was like, hugged Mal and was like, hi, like whatever. And so I'm like, it's kind of similar thing. Like emotionally, Lexi had a really deep connection with Mel. And so Ray could feel some type of way about that too, but like it's just part of the experience. I don't know. Lexi came down too hard.
Yeah, I mean, Lexi comes off very controlling and vindictive in these episodes. I I feel like the dinner with Lexi's parents, where like Lexi is telling her parents how Ray was intimate with Vanessa. It just the way she wouldn't allow Ray to like express herself was really, really hard to watch. And she
Hmm.
was like almost trying to like get validation from her parents in terms of how she felt. And it was just like the way she was just communicating to her parents about it, just everything about the situation was so uncomfortable and just made me, I don't know, it just made me look at Lexi in a different light.
Yeah, I think it felt like they were ganging up on Ray, and it was tough because obviously her mom is going to be Lexi's mom is going to be on Lexi's side. So that was very very inappropriate or uncomfortable to watch, but I did love when her dad stepped in and was like, "Well, you guys were on a break." And it made me
I
think of the
know.
Friends episode, Ross and Rachel. I'm like, "We were on a break." But
Yeah.
yeah, I do at the end of the day, though, I was rooting for them. Like I am rooting for them. And I don't know. I hope they can work it out because I do see that there's love there, but I hope Lexi can get over this Vanessa bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about the reunion later, but
Hmm.
we know that they are
They do
still
gotta
consumed
get,
by Vanessa, or Alexi is still consumed by Vanessa. So
yeah.
it's interesting. There was something Lexi said that made me realize like she might be a little bit manipulative or so like overpowered by her hatred for Vanessa that it's like clouding like her memory and I don't know. Like um Lexi and Ray are in their home and, they're talking about Vanessa, and Lexi says, well, Vanessa looked me in the eye and told me what you did with your hands, like referring to
Oh, yeah.
Fingergate. And I'm
Finger
like,
great.
Lexi, you were the one who pushed Vanessa to talk about it in like, that earlier dinner where you like,
Yeah.
got more details of their hookup. So I was like, what the fuck? I don't
Yeah.
know. And I was like, are you lying or trying to manipulate Ray right now to like dislike Vanessa? Or did your hatred just cloud your memory?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, like you said. I think she's just like it's her hatred for Vanessa that is fueling her so much that she's making Ray feel really bad about it. And she's like remembering it, I think, not correctly, because you're right. It was Lexi who pushed Vanessa to speak on it. And yeah, she's just kind of making it a bigger deal than it needed to be, I think.
Yeah,
That's
so
in my opinion. Yeah.
I like Ray in that she, I think, acknowledges like what she did, but I do like how
Hmm.
she kind of like pushes back and like is very clear of how she feels.
Yeah. You're right.
Um
Because you need a strong
anyways,
person with Lexi, because Lexi is overpowering.
yeah, speaking of other overpowering people, Mildred.
You can really see how Tiff and Mildred are so similar in the way that they communicate. They're just so hot headed and they come for each other's throats, and it's so intense. Like, it makes sense as to why they break up every week or every other week. It's so apparent. But I do have to say, I think Tiff showed up differently in their relationship with Mildred because of Sam. Sam has always been this like very calm, and like just communicates in like a very good way that I think Tiff needed. And you can really, it's just apparent that Tiff has grown a lot. And they show up so differently in their relationship with Mildred. It's very apparent.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't think anyone can communicate well with Mildred. I don't blame Tiff for raising their voice at times because it's probably how they learned to communicate with Mildred.
Yeah.
Um, uh, it, I don't know. It was just really like there was that one scene where Mildred and Tiff are like talking about how they communicate, and Mildred says like it's because I'm Latina is why you know I communicate the way I do, and Tiff goes like respect knows no race or respect has no
Yeah.
race.
That was so good.
um
It was so
yeah,
good.
and I don't know. Mildred just needs to slow her roll. She's really impossible to communicate with. It's really frustrating to hear her talk. And I think she's just petty. And there are moments where she like does, I don't want to use the word gaslight because I don't know if I'm using it correctly, but she says something to Tiff and then kind of like takes it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say is Tiff, like, is just very, I feel like Tiff just has progressed in their communication style so much, and they're not taking shit anymore. And I just love that. I think Tiff is doing the right thing by standing up for the relationship, but also like pointing out that there's a lot of issues there that they both need to handle.
Yeah. It's crazy because we see like Aussie and Sam who also have communications issues. It's just like a very much a different kind where you have Aussie who is an avoidant through
She's
and
so
through.
avoidant.
Oh man, okay. I've dated
Dude.
someone like Aussie and watching this for me, I was exhausted. Like I remembered how exhausted I was in that relationship when someone just runs away at every conversation and you have to wait for them to be okay to have the conversation. I'm happy to do it, but Ozzy does take it to the next level. And I commend Sam for being so patient. I don't even know why Sam is on the show because she is, I feel like the way she just expresses her emotions, the way she communicates is like perfect. Like she's
I
very much
know.
so normal. And I was like,
I
what are you
love
doing on
her.
reality TV? I want to say I'm very compassionate for Ozzy though. I think that the way Ozzy communicates, there's clearly something that happened in Ozzy's childhood that caused
Mhm.
Ozzy to deal or not deal with conflict the way that Ozzy does.
Mhm.
And you kind of see that when Ozzy is talking to Ozzy's friend,
Mhm.
where she's all like, this reminds me of my childhood where I was always blamed, and talks about like this pressure to be the perfect daughter, coworker, friend, etc. So
Mhm.
it's just really exhausting to watch, though.
Yeah, it is. That was a really tough thing. And I actually like really teared up over that. And you can see that Aussie has a lot of trauma that Aussie needs to deal with. But in a relationship, it's not your partner's responsibility to heal you. And I feel like Aussie has to take accountability. And Aussie does take accountability sometimes, but Aussie reverts back to Aussie's ways. So it's just hard to watch. And I do think that Sam deserves better. But at the same time, I do believe that there's so much love in their relationship and that Sam is like almost like the best partner for Aussie compatibility wise because who else is going to be this damn patient with somebody?
I was just thinking that like
Yeah.
Aussie has found the best partner
Yes.
in that Sam understands Aussie, allows Aussie to have the space
Yes.
that Aussie needs to
Mhm.
just think and then come back and communicate. It just, I don't think that Sam is getting the same benefit from Aussie.
That's exactly what
Um,
that's my thought too, is that I just hope that Ozzy can show the same level of respect and love back to Sam that Sam is able to give Ozzy. And, because Sam does deserve the best, like protect her at all costs, man. I love her.
I know, I do. Are you surprised by the couples who got engaged?
Yes, it seems like everyone got engaged besides
Yeah,
Xander. I was just like,
Xander and
okay,
Vanessa.
yeah, and I was just like, huh. I honestly, I knew that Lexi and Ray would probably get engaged. I wasn't surprised by that one, but I was very much surprised by Mildred and Tiff. I don't know
Me
why.
too.
Were
Me too.
you?
Because I
Yeah.
was when they talked about breaking up every week or every other week, I'm like, that's a huge red flag. You guys should not be getting engaged. There's no way that this 3 week experiment or 6 week experiment like saved that or like fixed that for you guys.
Exactly. And I know that both of their trial marriage partners wasn't anything romantic, and you know, it didn't work really. But I do have to say, like, it was just really interesting because even after their conversation, their one-on-one conversation, remember when Tiff is asking Mildred about why she got married previously because Mildred is divorced and has a son who has special needs. So, that adds another layer to their relationship. But remember, that's why I was so surprised because Tiff was like, "Well, you didn't even get married for love last time, so why are you wanting to marry me now?" I don't know. It just seemed like there was a lot of conflict there. So, I was very surprised when Tiff got on one knee.
I was too. That one was really surprising to me, along with Yoli saying yes to Mal. I just felt like with all the lies, though now looking back, I realized Mal probably had no idea how much Yoli was lying to her. But
Yeah.
I was shocked that Mal was still willing to fight for Yoli because Yoli annoyed me in these
You'll
episodes. I was just
I
like, you are just kind of like leading Mal on. So I was shocked. And I was shocked when Yoli was like, yes. And I was like, huh?
Yeah. She didn't
I don't
seem
know.
happy, and it was awkward to even begin the engagement, like, when they, like, sat down, remember? It was just awkward right off the bat because Mal was like, "Do you wanna sit next to me?" Or, like, whatever, and she's like, "No, I'm fine here." Like, I don't know, it just was so awkward even to begin with, so I just figured Yoli would say no, but yeah, I don't know, it was just very surprising to me, and then after, like,
Oh my
this
gosh.
woman, I'm telling you, Yoli is my least favorite. The fact that she took her engagement ring off before seeing Xander. Are you kidding me? That's right off the bat manipulative. And I know Yoli goes, "Oh, I just wanted to see what she would say and I didn't want to like cloud her decision." Are you kidding me?
I don't care if it's a TV show. I don't care whatever. You disrespected Mal on TV and
Yes.
you emotionally and physically cheated on her. So
Yeah, completely
eh,
agree.
I don't
There's
know. It
no
just pissed me off.
justifying. Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
justifying Yoli's actions whatsoever. Xander, I admire and love because she was willing to break off her relationship with Vanessa, and it was a strong one for Yoli because she thought there was a connection there and she thought there was a future there. But for her to say yes to Mal and then say, "Oh my God, Xander, I love you," it's like that's bullshit. That's bullshit. I just do not agree
Yeah.
with it. And the way that she kept like leaving and then coming back and being like, "Oh my God, why is this so hard? I'm so upset." And I'm like, yeah, like Mal said, you just want to please everyone.
I just looked down on her a little bit for doing that.
Yeah.
Um,
And Mal
and
deserves
I,
better.
yeah, Mal deserves
Yeah.
100% better. I kind of
Yeah.
feel the same way as Xander. Xander knew that Yoli got engaged to Mal and still just allowed all that like touching, all that I love you to happen. And I think that says a lot about Xander too. I'm not going to
I
lie.
I'm not gonna lie to you though. I don't think the responsibility falls on Xander because Xander is wanting to be with Yoli, and that's part of the experience. I do think that Xander respects Mal, but like it's not her relationship. That is on
I,
Yoli
yeah,
100%, I think, too. Like
I
mostly on
agree.
Yoli. Hmm.
The loyalty falls on Yoli.
Yeah.
Yoli cheated, but I think that here's the thing. I have been on a situation where I was like being pursued by a man in another relationship. And I was like, hell no. Like you cut it off right away out of like just principle, you
Yeah.
know? And so that's why it's like hard for me to empathize with Xander because I understand what you're completely saying. Like I was like, you're
Hmm.
right. Like it's Xander doesn't owe Mal anything, but I think it's the fact that for me, it says a lot about someone when they know that they are like, they knowingly are like, know that they're part of hurting someone else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do see that perspective, but like honestly, this is such a different experiment or experience that like Xander just left her long-term relationship for Yoli, and Yoli told her no, right? She's like, I got engaged to Mal, and they went their separate ways. But when Yoli comes back to Xander, it kind of like makes you hopeful and you're like, oh my God, like I'm because she left very hurt, right? She's like, oh my God, like this sucks because I wanted to be with Yoli. They break it off. And then Yoli coming back to Xander. I think if I was Xander, I'd be like so hopeful. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, did she change her mind? You think about it like in the romance movies, like, that kind of situation where like she's coming back for my love kind of thing. So that's why I don't place that much blame on Xander. And yeah, it's part of the show. That's why, because like if it was in a real life situation, yes, I totally understand principle. I think you don't cross that line ever, but it's because it's the ultimatum. I think I give
I
her the pass.
disagree. I
Yeah.
think that I disagree. I get like the reality TV show aspect. I get the whole experiment is like part of exploring other potential relationships. But I think also like once you commit to someone and say you commit to someone, you don't go behind their back.
Well, oh, I agree with you on that. Yoli is the one at fault, a
No,
hundred thousand
but I
percent.
also think with Xander too, I was all like, just because you're in an experiment that may allow you to like break up with your partner and explore something with someone else, but like I still think it says a lot about you. Actually, I think it says more about you that you're willing to be a part of this like emotional cheating situation on camera.
Yeah, I
But
think it's
that's my
easy.
thing.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say that, but when you're like feeling all the feelings and emotions and the intensity of the situation, I think it's easier to make mistakes.
Should we get into the reunion? Because a lot of things changed from that last episode, episode 9, with the engagements or breakups, um, to the reunion, which was, I think, filmed a year after everything had occurred.
Yeah. Oh man, the reunion was enlightening. Let me tell you.
Okay,
Where do we even
where do we?
start?
I
Yeah.
know. Can we go back to Fingergate for the
Figure
reunion? Because
eight.
what is up with Lexi still? Oh my gosh! I was like, why is the blame still falling on Vanessa? And why are you making Vanessa look like some aggressor that took advantage of Ray? Like that's not what happened. You saw the show, Lexi, and you still think that. When
Yeah.
Lexi started apologizing about the vulgarity of like how she was talking about Ray and Vanessa's hookup. I actually thought she was going to apologize to Ray and maybe
Yeah,
Vanessa. And when she kept talking, I was like, what? I was
I
like, that's what
know.
you took away from watching yourself on TV. You didn't
Yeah.
say, like, oh, I went too hard on Vanessa. Like, oh, I forced her to tell that story. Oh, I also put so much blame on Vanessa and like also made Ray feel 10 times bad about it. Like, I was like, huh?
Yeah, there was a lot going on there. And I honestly thought that I would see a lot of growth from Lexi in this situation, but she's still very angry. She's still very angry
Yeah.
and upset about it. And on it's listen, we all make mistakes in life, and Ray clearly knows that she made a mistake during the whole Fingergate situation, which is why she woke up guilty and she addressed the situation like head on. She was like, "Hey, this happened. I'm sorry." And I think that's how you handle the mistakes really shows you who you are. And like for Lexi to just continue just like beating her down about it just was a lot. It was a lot.
I feel like the blame was taken off Ray by this point, right? That's how what I took off from it, just based on how they were
Oh,
talking.
just
But I think that
it's
Lexi
funny.
still blames Vanessa a lot. And I'm like, why? You saw the show, you saw that it was a consensual like hookup. Why are you still putting the blame on Vanessa and acting like she took advantage of Ray when you know that's not the truth? Not the truth. That's where I'm bothered by. I was
Yeah.
like, it's just like it's stupid.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the fact that Lexi just doesn't like Vanessa as a person.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nothing that Vanessa could do would make Lexi happy. There's nothing in this world. And that's really
Yeah.
how what it has to be chalked down to.
I
But
know. I do feel
holy
kind of
shit.
hypocritical talking about that because I've been in a position where I was blaming someone else instead of my partner. So, like, I get it. Um,
Yeah,
but
it's easier
I don't
to
know.
it's easier to hate the person that you're not in love with or that you used to be in love with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think mine was a different situation considering she was like my ex best friend.
Yeah,
But still, at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know. I was like, I get it of like not trying to move on, but I really think that like Lexi was not looking at the situation clearly after,
clearly.
you know, especially when she saw kind of like the evidence from watching the show that it was very much consensual and Ray
Yeah.
wanted it just as much.
Oof. Were you surprised that Mal and Yoli didn't work out and their engagement didn't last?
No, 100% not. I don't know anyone who could really stay with Yoli. She feels like, Mal said in the beginning, like Yoli falls in love with like anyone in the moment or something along those
Yeah, she
lines.
said Yoli waters the grass where she is, kind of thing. So like she'll give love to any partner that she's with at the time.
Yeah, I mean,
That was messy.
you could, yeah, you could see that. So I'm not surprised. I feel like, um, Yoli still had feelings for Xander, but I'm surprised that Xander and Yoli didn't like connect at one point.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was hoping because when they talked about Mal and Yoli not working out, I was waiting for them to be like, so Xander and Yoli, are y'all together? And to hear that they
Yeah,
weren't. And also the way Yoli handles when she's caught in a lie is so funny to watch
I
because I'm like,
know.
you're clearly lying. It's your way of like deflecting and being like, oh, I don't remember that. What is that? I'm like, you did that throughout the season.
I know. She's always like, "Oh, right, right," when she gets called out, as if like she didn't remember what she did.
Right.
I kind of loved when Mal called out Yoli that she doesn't have a history of being honest, and it shows on the show because I was all like,
Yes.
"Now you get it." What was really interesting is when Mal revealed that Yoli was messaging Mal like, "Don't worry about Xander, I love you," when she was in her trial marriage with Xander. And I'm like,
Yes.
what the fuck? It just shows how manipulative Yoli is. And then the
Yes.
fact that Vanessa reveals Yoli and Xander were planning a trip to Hawaii. And
Ooh.
then
Ooh.
Yoli and like Mal didn't know about it. And Mal's like, no, Yoli told me like she had to stop talking to Xander. Like
Dude,
it's
okay. That is
messy.
just so damn messy because one, it shocked me that when Yoli was with Xander, she was texting Mal, "Are you freaking kidding me? Like that is
Yeah.
so wrong." And then for her to, because I don't think Yoli realized that Vanessa knew about the whole Hawaii trip. And
Yeah.
when she looked over at Xander and was like, "Xander, you want to help me out here?" And Xander's like, "Yeah, you remember that time you were trying to come see me in Hawaii?" And she's like, "I don't remember that." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Girl, please, please." It's
No,
just,
she's like, oh, right, right. Like, oh,
yeah.
right is how she responds. But
She probably is doing that because she probably told Mal that there's maybe still a chance that they could get back together, even though they were broken up and moved out, you know? So she's probably trying to hide the fact that she was talking to Xander because she was still trying to work on her relationship with Mal as well, which is
well,
shady.
they were together. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But they were together for 2 weeks. And I think the way Vanessa was telling the timeline, like when we got back from Hawaii, her and Xander, what she was saying is like Mal, what she was implying was Yoli was talking to Xander
Hmm.
while she was with Mal. So
Oh
yeah,
my
Yoli's
God.
just like a little dishonest little gal over there. So I'm
Yep.
not shocked. She, like you, again, like Mal said, you see it on the show. She's very dishonest, doesn't isn't forthcoming. And yeah. Were you
Mm.
shocked that Yoli and Mildred seem really close? Remember that whole blowout with Tiff during the reunion? I was shocked that Yoli was involved in that conversation as much as she was, and it seemed like she had Mildred's back.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like Yoli and Mildred are friends outside of the show, and they stay close because, yeah, you're right. So the conversation that had come up was about rent, and it was so Mildred and Tiff are living together with Mildred's special needs son, and something came up about how Tiff brought up the fact that rent should be split in three ways because there's three people living in the house or in the whatever they're living. And then Yoli like steps in and was like, "So then who brought up the conversation?" Because Tiff was denying that it was her who brought up the fact that they should split it three ways. And I was like, "Wow, okay." She definitely has Yoli definitely has Mildred's back, and it's very apparent.
That was really, really hard to watch the whole conversation with Tiff and Mildred. The fact Mildred just like steamrolled into Tiff, the
She
way
threw
Mildred,
She threw a puppy gate at her,
a
among
dog
other
gate, yeah.
things.
Yeah, and a
Yes.
picture frame, I think, at Tiff. And the way Mildred was trying to justify it was really, really gross.
I
One thing that
agree.
really stuck out to me is when like Mildred is talking about how Tiff was on a dating app and,
Yeah.
had women over
Mhm.
after they had broken up. And like
And
she
played
brings it
sex
up.
games.
Yeah, Mildred
Or
brings it up like it's a big, big deal. But Tiff's like, no, we were broken up. I'm allowed to be on a dating app. And then Mildred goes, well, no one cares, or like, that's not the thing. And Tiff's like, what? You're the one who brought it up.
yeah,
Like the way Mildred talks, it's like, yeah, she gaslights
that's like
and just does not slow her roll. And the way she communicates is really disgusting. I
yeah.
really don't know how anyone can communicate with her.
It was really hard to watch because Mildred just doesn't allow anyone else to speak, and I understand why Tiff had to get out of that situation because Mildred also she tried to like justify that Tiff shouldn't have been on dating apps because her stuff was still in the apartment and she hadn't completely moved out yet. I was like, I don't think that's one of the rules when you break up. Like, you're allowed to see other people. And it got so bad to the point that Tiff had to leave the reunion and did not come back. That was a lot. I was like, it was really
Yeah.
hard to watch. I really felt for
Yeah.
Tiff.
I'm glad that Sam was there to comfort Tiff. Were you surprised that Aussie still hadn't told Aussie's parents about Aussie's engagement to Sam?
Yeah,
Like
it was
I was
actually
like, what?
Yeah, it was really hard to hear that because I was really rooting for them and I still am. And I hope that Ozzy can tell Ozzy's parents, but I feel like Ozzy's still scared and I just
Yeah.
don't know. Well, to be fair, Aussie has to say something considering this show is going to come out unless
I
her
know.
parent
That's what I was going to
unless
say.
yeah, unless Aussie's parents don't have Netflix and they're not going to find out, but I really hope they get married and work it out because I really love them.
Yeah, I really, really love Sam and I really wish her the best. I hope Ozzy has healed or is like working towards healing because I do think that after seeing them at the reunion, they do make a good couple. I'm unsure if Ozzy has changed because even during Tiff and Mildred's conversation at the reunion, not even a conversation, more like Mildred going into Tiff,
Mhm.
um, like you could see in Ozzy's face, like Ozzy hates conflict. And I was like, have you learned to, or are you learning to, deal with that? Like
I
dealing with
think
conflict and seeing conflict.
the one positive sign was when Sam and Ozzy were talking and they said they came to a space of compromise where they're working on their space. So Sam allows Ozzy to have some space, but Ozzy like comes back quicker. So remember they were talking about how they figured out their space, their situation, and how they're working on it. So that gave me hope. And I do have to say, yes, Ozzy was very uncomfortable listening to that fight, but I was proud of Ozzy for saying something and saying, yeah, this was the tough part about Mildred and I's relationship as well.
Yeah, like reminding her of what it was
The
like in that trial
conflict.
marriage with Mildred.
Yeah.
Um, so the reunion ends with this like black screen that says Ray and Lexi
Real quick.
broke up.
Yes.
Like after the reunion. Were you surprised by that? Because I kind of
Um,
was not.
I was not either, weirdly. I wasn't actually because I saw a TikTok. I was like,
Oh,
damn it,
okay. We got
couldn't
to
get
talk
away
about.
from it.
After I
Yes.
finished the reunion episode, I went all throughout social media
Yes.
to like listen to like podcast interviews with the cast, like some behind the scenes. We'll save it
Yeah.
for our next episode
Yeah.
because there is a
There's so
lot
much.
that went down and a lot that was said after the reunion and the show came out really out to the public. So we'll talk
Yeah.
about that next. But
It was
um
yeah. And I kind of, it's interesting because I'm relearning how people are on social media versus the show. And I'm like, oh, my favorites
yeah.
are changing again. But no, it's really good. Oh, dude, this reunion was, there was a lot going on. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And at one point, the host just sat back and she was just like, what is
I
happening?
know.
It was so
I
funny.
know. She was a good host. I liked her.
Me
I feel
too.
like they maybe edited it a little bit more carefully after the fail of the Love is Blind live reunion and the backlash that Vanessa and Nick Lachey got. Well, particularly Vanessa Lachey. So I
Yeah.
think it was a pretty good reunion in that we like learned a lot about
Yeah.
the couples and some stories came out that we were like what the heck,
It
but yeah, i
was
i
overall
loved
good.
this season. I cannot wait for season 2 of the Ultimatum Queer Love. Like this is truly one of my favorite reality TV shows on Netflix.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was such a good show. And honestly, I learned a lot about, how I approach relationships too. It was really good. In any case, because next week is a US holiday, it's July 4th weekend. So we will be taking a week off. So there will be no new episode next Monday, but we will come back on July 10th. But in the meantime, please continue sending all of your questions and your comments to our Instagram page at Out of the Pods.
And make sure that you leave a review and subscribe. See you 2 Mondays from now.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye. It's fine.